Well, we are here. Welcome back, everyone. We are starting and taking this off screen. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
And we have the intro, didn't really like it. We've got our dashes with our little brains. All here.
Sasha's dash is a little special.
Actually, I have two dashes, but they are in. I have something more. Yeah, I have my dash hat.
This is like
okay. You have a dash hat.
Yeah, always when I'm talking about Flutter, I wear this.
Oh my gosh! And I love my Flutter hat, but I really like your dash hat.
Oh yeah, dash hat is like super special.
Did you make that?
I see them in Flutter and Friends before.
So yeah, I got it on Flutter and Friends by Lucas Greenwald.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's done by I saw Emma was doing it by using real dashes. Like she literally just get them out and handmade it from the real dashes, the hats before Flutter and Friends conference last year. She turned them into a cap.
Guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to put my
earbuds.
Okay.
Oh no.
You know, in fashion, there is a term like deconstruction. When you take something variable, deconstruct it and construct it another way to give it new life. Yeah.
And now I see a phrase considering how much you travel to all conferences, that's a super useful way to keep dash code.
That is definitely a great way. Okay.
Really, much more.
Dash really has a brain, unlike mine. Mine's got a squeeze.
It has a green
thing. Okay, let's do our introduction for everything. For those who are joining us, thank you for joining our FCAIC or Flutter Community AI Circle. It is great to have you here. You'll notice that there are some people missing. We've had some changes. There's been some family emergencies for some others. So there are 4 of us today. And oops, there goes Randal. We lost Randal. So, hopefully. Oh, too funny. Okay, so I'm going to, you guys are still going to be here. So we're going to do it this way. Okay. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Steph, and I am the team lead. I am the novice when it comes to the AI stuff. I'm here to ask questions, help with our scheduling, help with the team. You can't see everything, so I'm also producing. So I'm multitasking here. I'm going to change the screen a little bit here. Ezra, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Esra from Berlin. You can also see me in Flutteristas, Flutter Berlin meetup, as you will also see Sasha soon. And of course, Flutter Community AI Circle. And right now I'm super into overall Flutter and entire AI thing coming. I also use AI in my day-to-day setup and also in my work life. So as much as doing contributions, developing, and right now we're also exploring in live, building in live, failing in live in the stream. So pretty happy with that. So thank you.
I forgot to mention, I am a Flutterista. I help co-manage Flutterista. And if you don't know what Flutteristas are, we are a global community for female and non-binary who have an interest in Flutter. And Ezra is one of my co-managers. We call ourselves the administas. And so, I forgot that. So thanks for bringing that up, Ezra. The Flutter community is so awesome for hosting the FCAIC live stream here on the Flutter Community YouTube channel. And Chitay isn't here with us today. Chitay, I said it wrong again. Sorry. Jen was going to be here, family emergency. So you can follow him on there. He will be back. Norbert is traveling. And so when he's done with his traveling, he'll come back and have his live streams. Randal, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Now that I'm back, my internet is apparently having a case of the Mondays, so having to deal with that. So I was totally offline for about a minute and a half there. Hopefully it's back and stable. So far it's been okay. Knock on wood, but I don't have any wood around here. I'm Randal Schwartz. I am a Dart and Flutter Google developer expert, one of 12 in the North America. And I also co-host other shows on this network, including Hump Day Q&A, as already mentioned earlier today. But I also spend a lot of time answering questions online for people in all the various socials like Discord and Stack Overflow and Reddit and Slacks and things like that. And typically for these shows that we're doing live streaming, I'm also the question magician, which means I am watching for questions. If you put Q: in front of a question, I will flag it to make sure that we get to see it and answer it. And today I also have a bit of a demo. I was trying to get Gemini and Demino. I've got a Demino coming up. Demino. Gemini CLI. There we go. All right. This is going to be a goofy one, I can already tell. All right. As live demos go, hopefully I've prayed in the right general direction somewhere towards Mountain View that way. I think. Yeah. Okay. So that should be okay. Right.
And oops, hold on. And Simon is not able to be with us today unless he happens to pop on. So hint, Simon, if you're out there, please join us. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. And as Randal mentioned, if you have a question, be sure to put a Q in front of it so it's captured. And Randal.
Oh, I get to read those
part.
anyway?
You get to do the do's and don'ts.
Sure. So be nice, be respectful, be constructive. You're not talking to bots through the chat room there. You're actually talking to other human beings. So remember that, because treat them like fellow human beings. Don't post anything that is adult content or rude or offensive. Don't advertise or promote anything. If your face is not on screen, you cannot promote something. Only people who have faces on screens get to promote things. Don't spam. Don't post the same thing again and again. It's just annoying. We see it. We saw it the first time. We saw it the fifth time. Just don't keep doing that. Also, in particular, if you ask a question and then ask the very same question 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, you lose your place in line, because I take the first one off and put the second one on. So you're just going to lose your place if you ask the same question again. Harassment of any kind, not tolerated. We do have band hammers. We use them, but do have a good time. We have a good time doing this stuff. That's why we're contributing all the time to helping you all out, discover right along with us sometimes how things work and where to use them. So I'm happy to be here sharing that.
And I don't have the slide here. So Sasha, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Sasha Denisov. From Berlin, as well as Ezra. So also one of co-organizers of Flutter Berlin community. So what else? I work for EPAM as a chief software engineer, and I'm head of Flutter discipline here in EPAM. And what else? I'm Google developer expert for Flutter, Firebase, and AI. And yeah. I love traveling, so it's one of the reasons why I love travel and give a talk somewhere in different places. Probably we met already somewhere in your city and your conferences. Last year, I don't remember how many conferences I visited, but it was many. Yeah. And now, I also really into AI, and my most favorite probably area of AI. It's somewhere between mobile and AI, so AI on device. And yeah, I'm a maintainer of Flutter Gemma plugin. And it's one of our purposes for today's stream is to discuss this plugin and its capabilities.
Actually, I do believe also Sasha is one of the really inspiring GDEs that he just shows like multiple hats and the area that you can just be like an GDE in multiple areas you can just do and connect all of the learnings that you have in different platforms and learnings together. Because mostly we have a lot of GDEs specified in only one area. And Sasha is actually doing a little bit collaborative work and bringing all of those together, which makes it really reliable. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yes, when he said that, I was like, oh, that is really great.
Yeah.
So we have a few more slides we're going to go through. If you're sharing code, or if you need to share code, you won't be able to post a URL. Do not put any code in the chat, but go to GitHub, log in, navigate to just.new, enter your title, enter a file name, paste your code or type it out, change it to public, and create the gist. When you go to share, what you share with us is the last portion of that URL. Make sure to, say, here's the gist, and then put this, and then it will be able to go and see it, and we can pull it up.
Yes, just the hex digits that are at the end.
Just the hex digits, yes, at the end.
Yep.
If you're new, what's the Flutter Community AI Circle? We're here as a community to work with exploring and developing AI-powered capabilities with Flutter. We have partnered with Google, and we're continuing this and reaching out to others, learning new things. It's a very fast growing topic. So it's a place for us to also bring together interest in building agentic apps. And that's it in a nutshell. We have a playlist. Who can join FCAIC? Anybody who has an interest in Flutter and is working in AI, you're totally welcome. And if you're a beginner like me and you're curious about capabilities or terrified, depending on your state of mind, this is the place for you. That's what we're here for. And we have a diverse perspective and experience levels. We have people who don't know anything about it, which I'm glad to say I'm no longer in the I don't know anything about it stage, to total experts that are doing all kinds of stuff. So if you're remotely interested in AI and you aren't interested in Flutter, you're in the right spot. How can you contribute? We have several different ways. We've got surveys, join us live here, then you can share your projects in our forums, contribute to open source. We'll have some links and things to show you here shortly. If you haven't done it yet, please fill out the community survey. This is where, if anybody who's here watching it and you haven't filled out the community survey, please do. This helps us know what you're interested in, what you're doing, so we're able to see that and help tailor what we're discussing to the community. If you're someone who is creating content, doing things like that, please also fill out the contributor survey and have links in there and things like that. So then we can also have you and come and be a guest on our live stream, and you can share your knowledge. And then we have, so here are the FCAIC socials. Also, if you look at forum.itsallwidgets.com, you'll be able to go to the AI category. You can put in questions. We have our website at ai.fluttercommunity.dev. it will be evolving. And one thing that we're wanting to do with that is, and that's where the contributor part is, we want to have a central place for the Flutter community to go, because as we all know, the internet is huge, and it's like, okay, where do you go to find things? By having the forum on It's All Widgets, you've got a single place that you can go to ask questions, both with chat and also with posting forum questions, as well as we will be adding things to the AI section of the Flutter community website. So we'll have links. So we're going to have a one-stop shop. So we're still in the process of doing that. So if you haven't checked it out, please check out our website. There is a playlist for the Flutter community AI circle, and we live stream on Mondays at this time, 9 Google time, 4 p.m. UTC. And then there's Vibe Coding with Norbert and Friends. There's a playlist, as I mentioned earlier. He's traveling, so there's been a little bit of a sabbatical, we'll say, and but it will be coming back. And that's it. So let me take this off the screen, and we're back. And so what we have next is Randal. He's going to be talking about the Gemini CLI, and take it away.
He's rapidly preparing the screen so when it gets there.
It's okay. We've had some technical difficulties.
It'll
totally
look
fine.
right. Okay, let's see here. One more thing here. I think this is on the right screen. I hope it is. Was it on the right virtual thing? Let's see here. Let's go back to the other one. I'm trying something new this time to only show a portion of apps. And of course, doing that live is always exciting. Yes. I got to get back to y'all. How do I get back to where y'all are? It's got to be, way over here.
Well,
so I'm using a virtual display. Okay. Let's see if this shares. If I do that, do you know how to bring that up on screen, Steph?
Yes. I do. Before we go into this, I do want to share some stuff. One person has commented that the FCAIC seemed intimidating at first. And then we have another person who said that they're a beginner and they're less terrified because of our series. So, yay!
I mean, what I would say is I do really like this series because personally, no one has a lot of times to check what is going in entire AI updates. There is tons of tools, products, packages, things to use, but we are having huge FOMO of like missing things out. And what we do here is like, we mostly have, a couple hours to prep our stuff before stream, if we are lucky. And then we do in public, fail in public, learn it together. And it's what makes it good. Like, having that and taking this as stream space, and people are asking, we are doing it in public. We are doing it alone. Like we are Googling the questions together, asking and preparing prompts together. And I think it just makes it for everyone to like, let's go and learn it. We sometimes hit the token limitations, like, there's like API request limitations. And we are okay, it's the end of the stream for today. We don't have any more tokens left. So it's a pretty also surprise for us. And thank you everyone for supporting it. It's also like a vibe streaming, actually.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is for Randal, so the screen isn't quite as overflowed, I'm going to take 3 of us, Sasha, Steph, and Ezra, off screen. And we're still here. We can also keep an eye on questions. Don't forget, like it says below, have a question, put a Q in front of it. And we're going to let Randal take it away. And if he needs us to come back or we want to pop on and have questions, we'll do that.
I can't see the screen, your screen right now. So
right.
I'm just trusting that if I hear a voice in my head, it's one of you.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm pretty good at that. I'm presuming, I don't remember the discussions whether we've actually talked about Gemini CLI before other than just in passing. So I wanted to at least start from the beginning so that people could get a sense of what it is. So Gemini CLI is a competitor in the field that was originally dominated by Cloud Code and a couple of others that are basically terminal-based operations that have agentic powers, meaning that they can go in and modify files, move things around, run commands, essentially be your smart shell. And by smart, I mean that not only are you able to execute tools, but you can also ask LLMs questions about things. And between the two of those, you can do vibe coding or whatever you want to do, you know, fixing up, getting rid of issues, things like that in there. It's absolutely free at this point, which is really amazing. I think there's a limited availability around the world. I don't know, but I'm in the U.S., so I get it first. That's why I don't pay a lot of attention to that. But it's live, at least for the U.S., and at least as soon as I/O happened, because this was announced at I/O. And you have to install it. It's not that hard. You need a Node because you got to use npm to install it. You need Node version 20, it looks like here. And I'm looking at the page that comes up as the very first. I feel lucky when you type in Gemini CLI. So this is definitely got a lot of SEO. Amazing how a page that Google has high SEO. I wonder how that works. Anyway, so there are instructions here about how to install that. I've already done that. I'm not going to step you through those. On my system, it was a bit tricky because my NPM, I have like 4 of them installed because of all the different Mac ports stuff I have set up. I've got Brew, I've got old Brew and current Brew that represent my x86 and M1 compilations. It's a mess. So it took me, after running this command here that we see with npm install, Gemini did not come up because it couldn't find it in all the various pathways that it might have been able to look at. So I had to actually put a bin in my home directory that redirects to the actual one that's deep in Brew somewhere. But hopefully your systems will work a little bit easier. If you have pretty good success at installing NPMs, that's probably going to do that pretty well. And then you need to authenticate. And there's a couple of ways to do that. What I'm doing is using an API key. And we can get that. Let's see if this will work if I pop up in a window here. Okay, API, AI.dev. I know that's really tiny because I've got virtually a huge screen, but way up here in the upper right corner, get API key. That's where you're going to go. And down here, you're going to get an API key. It does not have to have billing associated with it. Like I have one key that has billing associated with it, so I can use the Premiere models. And I have another API key that uses the free stuff because there's no billing for it. And that's the one I've actually given to Gemini CLI so that it can operate. It needs one of these. It needs a key from here. There's also another way to do it with Google Auth. If you already have installed, I believe if you have installed GCA, the Gemini Code Assist, you can also use it directly that way by using a OAuth login. But I don't do it that way. I use my own API key, and I have it in the environment, so therefore I don't have to worry about handing it anyway to that. It will prompt you on the first invocation to authenticate whichever way you want to do it, either through your Google account if you're using the Gemini Code Assist version, or through an API key that you put in your environment if you're doing it that way. Really generous free tier, 100 requests a day using 2.5 Pro, which is pretty good actually. And you can get higher rate limits with the paid plan. So I'm just using the low level plan, so it's whatever sort of comes out of there. So I got a key and I put it in this way. Look at that, right? That's pretty much what I did right there. So I have a API key in my environment. And if you upgrade to a paid plan, then you get more stuff to tier 1 rate limits. Ooh, cool. I should probably try that sometime, but I'm not using that for this demo. So if it times out in this demo, that's just the demo gods being mad at me. Okay, and once that is available, you can interact with Gemini from your shell. Now, I was doing it that way for a while. I would have a text editor window open, a VS Code window open, next to a terminal window where I would put things in the terminal. But then I discovered you could actually use it directly within the terminal window, and that's the terminal window of the IDE, and that's what I want to show off here. So here I have just a standard counter app. We all know the counter app, and I think it's running somewhere, but I don't see where it's running. Maybe if I restart it, it'll pop to the front. Maybe it will. How do I get that up here?
Randall, can you increase your font size?
I will in a second. I'm trying
Okay,
to
thanks.
find this thing. There we go. There's my thing. Yeah, I don't know how to change that font size at all, so that's just going to stay tiny. But let's get rid of this. I don't need this. I'm going to go a little bigger here. I can't go too much bigger because I'm running out of screen. That's probably about as good as I'm going to be able to get, and still be able to see the this guy over here.
It helps. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, and thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, we don't need this to be really wide. We want this to be more available to us. Oh, now where'd my mouse go? Hello, mouse. There we go. Okay. Let's see. There's some overlap here? Let me try to squish this just a bit more. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm in a terminal window inside VS Code, but every one of the IDEs has a terminal window capability. So whether you're using JetBrains products or VS Code or anything else, whatever's got a terminal, this will work for. And what I can type in here now is Gemini. And this is now invoking Gemini in the subdirectory of the top of my project, which is really nice because now we're sitting here looking at here's the banner that normally comes up too, but normally you see it all just on one little screen, but because I got it magnified so much, it's a little crazy here. I've got some MCP servers installed. I don't think anything I'm doing right now is actually going to stress any of those, but this particular Gemini CLI has access to a bunch of tools already. Let's see if we can get those out there. Yeah. So we've got, let's see, I think those are all built in. Yeah. So read folder, read file, search text. And what I mean by tool here is that if the LLM says, I need to read one of the files in a particular folder here, it can indicate back to Gemini CLI, I need to read this file, and then Gemini CLI will read the file and fetch it back. But notice this one here, web fetch. This is really nice. And Google search. Those are built in. In a lot of other configurations, you don't get free Google searching. You end up having to pay a Gemini access key for it. But the fact that we can do Google searches means that we can ask questions and make changes based on current data. But let's start with just what can we do now. So this is the counter app, really boring. Look at the code and tell me what this does. Okay. So now it's going out, doing its large language model stuff. We're running Gemini Pro. Notice Gemini Pro. It's analyzing it. So it's red, live main Dart, and keep scrolling off the top here. This is a Flutter template application. See, it features a homepage. It's a standard Flutter project, not published to pub dev. Yeah. So with just one prompt here, and again, this is free. With one prompt inside my terminal window, I can sit here and look at things and look at files and see what they do. But more importantly, we can make vibe code changes here. In other words, scripted using English as my text editing language. We can do things like change the app color to green. Okay, so now I'm beginning my vibe coding. So that's going to be the normal way that we went in and changed the color to it. It finds it. Okay, now it's asking, is it okay to do things? This list of what's allowed resets every time you invoke Gemini. I don't know if there's any way to record those permanently, but it always comes up with this question at least once on the first time here. So apply this change. Let's see what the change actually is. Oh, it's hard to say it because it says 10 lines hidden. Well, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, always a lot of changes. I don't want to see this message anymore. Oh, right. I have to do it this way. Down arrow and then return. Okay, so it's doing the replacement. Ah, look at that. And it hot reload too. Wasn't that cool? That was fun. Okay. Are you guys still there? Was that fun?
Yes, that's cool. So I think you said that when you had the prompt and you had the questions that you use your arrow key to go and select what you want and then hit enter. Is that what you did?
Yeah, arrows
Okay,
and return.
perfect.
Whatever has
Okay.
that little bullet list on the left side where there's
Mm-hmm.
one dot selected. This is a convention in a lot of Google's command line tools, so it's familiar for those that come from, say, like using the Google Cloud tools and things like that. So the little trickier one is adding both a plus and a minus button. Let's see how well it does at doing that. Add a, let's make sure this works first. That'd be kind of handy, right? Yep. Hey, it counts. It counts. Ship it. All right. Good deal, right? Here. Make
the plus and minus. Is it just because we can't see it because of the way?
Oh, there is no minus in there yet. I didn't do it yet.
But okay, I don't see the plus just because of how it's shared. The window is bigger, so you may see it differently than what we're seeing. So is the plus still in the bottom right corner?
Yeah. Oh, I ended up on the wrong window. Hold on. That's the problem. You're not seeing that at all. Let's see if I can figure out how to get this over to their window. This thing.
I mean, I see the counter app where where it's changed. It's on 6. I just don't see the plus. So that's what I was curious about.
Probably below the bottom of the screen if I can figure out how to get this.
No worries. There we go.
Is that better? You see it
yes,
now?
that's better. So yeah, and that'll help when you go to add your minus, so people will be able to see it. Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going back off the screen.
Make the text larger. See if I can get that to just do it at once. Identify text widget. Okay, that's good. Examining widget styles. Enlarging the text. Okay, I'll apply. And look, and it did. It did. It made the text bigger. Wasn't that cool? I've increased the font size or anything else. Yeah. So we can do, so the idea here is that, yes, we can do this with Copilot or RuCode or Kilo Code, and almost any of these agentic things that are plugged into VS Code. The advantage is that I've now have a configuration here, which I've set up with a few MCP servers, which I'll show off in a minute, that I can use in any editor or even just right from the command line. If I'm just going into the top level of a project, I don't want to fire up an editor. I just want to make changes to a project. I have access to all of that from the command line from whatever directory I end up migrating myself into. So let's see.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back. And Ezra and Sasha, if you guys want to be added, let me know. I'll add them too, just in case. Okay, so you mentioned RuCode because I know you're a big RuCode proponent. And as you're doing this, do you notice it any difference? And one thing I did do is I saw your message about being able to use Gemini in IntelliJ. And actually that came up because Scott just asked, yes, I was able to do Gemini CLI in the terminal for in IntelliJ. I also did it in terminal on my Mac. So it's like I was in my folder and I used the Gemini CLI commands in terminal as well. So yes, it does work with IntelliJ. And I did like that. Still trying to figure out like all the ways to do it. It was actually kind of cool because I used it to with commands that I had done in RuCode or in Gemini Code Assist or something. And it's like, it tell me I'd run out of tokens or whatever. But when I did it in here, I didn't get any of those warnings or anything.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty generous even on the free tier. I mean, I was playing with it for probably a couple hours straight yesterday, and I don't think I ever hit the limit. So you'll notice that because it'll roll back from Pro to free, from Pro to Flash, which means you're going to get less quality responses, but they'll be quicker if that's any consequence. It'll be quicker, but slightly more inaccurate responses. So it is rolling over internally, and I don't know what happens when you use up everything from both Pro and Flash in one day, but so far this has worked for me for what I wanted to do. And since we brought up Rue, I want to explain the differences here. Rue is amazingly configurable. I mean, there's modes, you can add modes, you can tell it to do things a particular way. There's like so many ways of customizing it. There's not a lot of ways of customizing Gemini CLI, but I haven't felt the need to do that. It feels a lot more polished. It feels a lot more mature, ready to use than anything else that I've been using so far. Even Gemini Code Assist. I mean, I'm still seeing a difference in, at least in my personal reactions, above and beyond Gemini Code Assist. And so let's try adding that minus button here. Let's see, add a decrement.
And I'm going to take us all back off screen so we can see it when you're typing.
Yes. Okay. Add a decrement button.
Okay.
Below the increment button. Let's see if it's going to screw this up. That's always exciting. We're watching it go along here. I can probably slide this up just a bit more so we see a little more context there. We just won't see as much code. Okay, it's putting some stuff in. I added the decrement button, but it didn't show up on this screen. Huh? What did it do? It made a column. That's what it's supposed to do. I wonder why it didn't hot reload though. That was weird. Oh, because we have an error. We have a syntax error. It looks like. Let's see, problems. Yes, undefined name decrement getter. Ah, you didn't finish the problem. One problem. Fix it. Of course, it'll probably get snarky back at me. I'm not sure that it knows where the problems window is. Oh, I see the issue. Oh, it did. Look at that. Look at that. If you can't read that, it says, I see the issue. I added the decrement counter call in the onPressed handler, but I didn't add the actual variable. And now it's got 5 errors. That's heading in the wrong direction there. See, I knew the live demos would be really exciting. Missing concrete implementation. Whoa. Expected to find right curly. Value of counter isn't used. Okay, well, I'll keep telling it to fix it again. Still not quite there. 5 problems now. I don't want to take too much more time because, well, the only other thing that I want to show off was the fact that I've got MCP servers wired in here.
Have you told it to fix its errors?
Yes, I keep telling it to fix its errors.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm looking at 2 different screens and one screen is really tiny. So
my last change was a mess.
That's great.
It knows it screwed up. Oh, look at all this. It just rewrote the whole file. Oh my God. Oh my God. I will now fix it, include the build method and both the increment decrement functionalities. Is it compiling yet? Let's see. Is it compiling? Problems is gone now, but there's no decrement button yet. Let me restart in the IDE here. Where's my debugger? Here we go. Restart. And that didn't make it go back to 0. Oh, now it's 0. Oh, look what showed up over here. Hoo-hoo. I don't know why hot reload didn't do it. Oh, maybe because it was a change in layout. Reload sometimes doesn't suffice. Plus button go up. Yes. Minus button go down. Yes. So look at that. A first major structural change, and it did it just fine. So it understands Dart code well enough to have gotten slightly off track. I probably could have phrased it better or something. Maybe or maybe not. Maybe this is just how it is. But one of the things you can also ask it to do is research FP Dart package for some future questions. Now, notice down here we have 98% of our context still left. Remember, we have 1 million token context. So we can do things like this. We say, go out and go find out about FP-Dart package. And it's going to do that by analyzing the FP-Dart package. He's investigating it. Oh, and he wants to use my tool. It's because I have my tool that does the pub dev search installed on here. So
you said 1 million token. I thought earlier it said 100 because we're on the Pro.
Well, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, we're down to only 98%, which isn't bad.
Okay, so are you saying that with the Pro version with the CLI, you get 1 million like you do through the other tools where that's only on Flash?
No, million's pretty much the standard for Gemini. So that's everything from like 2.0 on was 1 million tokens. They're looking at doing 2 million tokens.
On the free side?
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's free or pro, or whether it's free or paid. It's always 1 million tokens.
Okay, then I definitely need to set something up because I keep running out. So yeah, I've got something going on. Okay.
That's not requests. Do not confuse.
Yeah. I understand.
This is how big the context is.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So for people who are brand new, it's not what you're asking. It's like the words both being sent and received count as tokens. And it's a special word. It's not necessarily like the word.
You'll be able to see.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see when I exit out of here. It'll show exactly what usage we've had. But this just shows that I'm actually using one of the MCP that I built that I'm going to rebuild on a live stream sometime soon. Let's see, it says press Control T to view. So here's the MCP servers I have installed. So I've got let's see, what's that one? That's a big one. Sequential thinking, and I was just trying to play with this. Context 7 is the most important one to get in because it gets current data for most of the frequently used libraries. Not Dart though, unfortunately. So that's why I wrote my tool to scan the pub. MCP local reg is another easy one. It's a great way of searching and getting a bunch of data from URL queries. That's probably redundant given that we have built-in Google searches in Gemini CLI. So we would usually have to do that. And I also have Flutter SDK docs in there. And there's my pub search tool, and I just have time of day one for fun to make sure that everything else is still working. So that's so I can say, what time is it in Berlin? Because we're always curious about that. So we know what time Ezra's dealing with. Finding the time zone. Here we go. Yes, always allow these tools. There, see? It looks like 6:51 p.m. pretty much. Of course, Ezra can't talk because she's muted. All right. Anyway, I think that's all I wanted to demo. I'm trying to think. Is there any other questions about looking at?
I added Ezra and Sasha.
Now I can talk, and now we get the current time.
Just in case Sasha and Ezra
yeah. Is there anything else you want to see while I've got this all set up like this?
There's a question, but it didn't have a Q in front of it, but I caught it.
Sure. What?
So is there an easy way to check to see if the auth is effective? Seems quick to do without confirmation. Quick to do auth without confirmation.
Well, it has auth because it has my API key in the environment.
Okay.
So that's always going to be there because that my login sets that up. So
you're using your API key, right? Okay.
I'm using the same API key for all of my personal exploration. So, yeah, the free one. So this is still all this work you just saw though was with the free stuff. It's so I'm still using the free tier, and I'm still getting a ton of stuff done. And like I said, I was working for probably 2 or 3 hours last night on a project, and I never hit any rate limit. So it was pretty,
okay. So there was another question. Hold on.
So when you're done with a session, you Control D out, and this tells it that so it actually it cached 73% of the tokens. That's nice. So that's now that Gemini has the ability to hold on to tokens, the clients that use Gemini, the LLM, can say same thing for the first 40,000 bytes, and then here's some more. So that way it doesn't have to keep sending the same 40,000 bytes over and over again. And as you can see, 261,000 cache tokens was pretty nice. So we only got up to a third of our limit here with the 353 there. So that's not bad.
We do have another question, or have a question.
Please, go ahead.
Scott asks, with Gemini CLI, can you do a rule setup that's automatically included?
Yes, it is looking at, let's see if I can do this without freaking out everything here. If we do, the right mode to be doing new window. Let's see here. There we go. All right. I know it's really tiny. I'll fix it in a second. Open tilde, but it is really tiny. Dot. Oh, don't tell me I can't open it directly here. Moved it this way. Control T. I say, oh, control back quote. There we go. I know it's extremely tiny, but I want to do code dash in dot Gemini. Okay, now I'll make this bigger. Hello, hello. Bigger, please. Oh, I'm not in the right window again. Is that bigger? Is this bigger? There, that's bigger. Okay, I knew there was a bigger somewhere, right? Okay, so in your home directory, you have the global settings under .Gemini. So if you look here, see it's .Gemini. And settings.json is the one that has, for example, what MCPs do I have? And it has a few other settings too, like the theme and the auth type. And I think there's something else too, preferred editor. Yeah, preferred editor. So that's in your home directory. But you can have a file like that in a .Gemini folder in any project that you have as well. So whatever the current directory is of the Gemini command, when you invoke it, which will be the top level of your project, it will look in .Gemini immediately adjacent to that. And if it finds override instructions or extra rules or whatever, it will process all these. Also, all caps Gemini.md is read as a prompt, as a global prompt, system prompt. So you cannot put anything you want in Gemini.md and it will read it.
So there's another question. It says, Callan, sorry, not sure how it's pronounced. How do you set up the extra MCP stuff?
Right now, that's the roughest part of it. You have to manually edit this file. So this material comes out of the description for the MCP. The MCP will typically say, to install this in Copilot, do that. To install this in root code, do this. Gemini CLI isn't specifically called out, but they all use basically the same structure for a local MCP. It looks like this stuff here. And so you'll find that in the documentation for the source for MCP local rag. And I just cut and pasted that right into here. So I had to have an editor open on this settings file. There's no fancier way to install things yet. I imagine that'll come along with time, but as long as I can get them in here, I'm done.
And it's the same file and basically everything that you've shown is the same here in VS Code as it is, or it's the same in IntelliJ as it is here in VS Code.
Yes, because Gemini CLI is just living in a terminal window.
Right.
It happens to be based at the current directory of the top of your project, which is exactly what you want for Gemini to run from. I think there are some things that it detects about that it's running in a VS Code window or running in an IntelliJ window. I haven't investigated enough to figure that out yet. So I'm still bleeding edge for me. I'm still getting used to all this stuff too. But there were some mentions of this is specifically designed to be able to run in these IDE windows so that you would have closer integration with your editing workflow.
And it's something as you're doing your trial and error and research and things like that, that we'll continue and have discussions on future FCAIC live
I will
streams.
report in following weeks with things I discover and went, oh, cool. Too bad I didn't know that last week when I was trying to tell you. Yeah.
It's a learning process. This whole thing is.
Oh, okay. Anything else you want to see before I shut this?
That was all for the questions. Scott says somebody missed my question about rules. Oh, I already got that. Okay. No other questions.
Okay.
So far. Okay. Don't forget, put a Q in front of your questions.
Actually, what I want to say, thank you for the show, Randal. And it's amazing to see how the Gemini CLI works. And you mostly show us the Flutter part. And actually, what I also see in extra use case that I see in X, Blue Sky, and others, so that maybe it can also inspire the audience to have a look in chat. What I see is people also use Gemini CLI to get their regular terminal work faster and easier. So it's not only for Flutter, but what I see is people just did, you know, we all have a messy desktop of PDFs, screenshots, notes, whatever, the files and so on. What I see in community is some people use Gemini CLI to arrange their desktop, arrange things in, let's say, PDFs aside, things related to work somewhere, related to community somewhere, things to like delete and maybe have a look later. So it can actually, since it can do everything you do in terminal to like create directories, move things around, understand the context, read, extract, and so on. This is actually also your way that you are building your own scripts to work your entire workflow easier. If you give access to your own apps, like the terminal ways, if the apps has CLI, actually Gemini can communicate with them. So it actually unlocks way much more of things. What I also see as use cases is I see some people started to connect Gemini CLI with Cloud 4 and with their own agents. And you like once you actually connect these together, or if you connect with Cloud Functions and further, what you can actually do is Gemini CLI is again creating a like getting your ticket from your Jira, Atlassian, GitHub project, wherever. It can get your ticket, read the ticket description, make the code, and open a PR to your GitHub by fixing the tasks and so on. In theory, it can be deliverable right now. Of course, how production ready and how perfect it is or how reliable it is a question mark. But this is what is unlocked right now as of technology. So these tools are already just getting connected together. You don't need to make huge scripts or pay whatever for that. So now all you need to do is like npm install Gemini CLI and start using. 100 queries per day is free. You still have the tokens, and that 2.5 Pro is available there. So either for your Flutter work or just getting your messy desktop done or schedule something in your calendar, whatever, though it's now under your hand in terminal. And
I will point out
using terminal is less scary.
We do have another question.
Let me address the point there though before we go further on that. Hold on. I was just going to say that one of the things that makes this Gemini CLI interesting is that you can say Gemini -- prompt and put in any prompt you want, or read it from standard in, which means that you could have a cron job that launches at 4 a.m. that runs a Gemini CLI API call essentially, and executes the code and does whatever you need to do, maybe updates files that you're looking at on a regular basis or something like that as well. And now I'll answer Steph's question, which is security risk. So the built-in file read operations and file write operations cannot go outside the current directory. So wherever you start Gemini, that's a boundary point that it won't go above. You can install third-party MCPs that have access to the entire disk. It's up to you, but that's your choice, Gemini's choice. So yeah.
overall, in all of them, I don't think like many models, if you're not limiting, I will not go for YOLO. YOLO called like you look only once, then you just like share some. It's actually came with cursor AI feature coming there. Like you just start something and do not check it. So YOLO mode. Definitely not recommended at this level, because if you allow all of the file modifications, especially if it's in your desktop, now it will be able to, I don't know, make the scripts, including code. It can add, remove things. Like you given access to terminal commands, clean up unused file and commit changes, then it can actually destructive Git or like do some file system actions if you don't know what you're asking, or if you're not prompting, let's say, properly or covering the edge cases. Or it can also like dry out of the token and just like go somewhere in the infinite loop. So you definitely still need to have a look at those. Yeah. I wouldn't go for API key exposure, mostly there yet.
One of my when I was editing the settings JSON file, I actually had an instance of Gemini CLI that was subdirectoried into the .Gemini directory. So it would only have access to update things locally right there, including the settings file. So when I found a description of an MCP I wanted, I just pasted that that bit of JSON, the instructions for that MCP. I just pasted that as part of the prompt and say, please install this into your own settings file. And it did. So I didn't even have to worry about getting all the indentations right of JSON and all that other stuff. It just went ahead and inserted it for me. So that's how that's sort of like, so it's not there's not a explicit tool for this yet, but if you're familiar enough with being able to launch Gemini inside its own settings directory, you can get it to assist you to install MCPs.
What can I also say? First, also people have, let's say, security problems or doesn't feel confident, or it can be also you are using your work desktop, or you only have your work computer that you cannot set up these kind of tools. What you can also do is you can use Sandbox, or you can have your Docker container virtual machine, something, since it's in CLI, you can actually, if you're gonna risk in high risk level things, you can just run them in your virtual machine, get the results there, just connect somewhere if you have only just your work set up. So you don't need to directly use your desktop. It's now in CLI, so which means anywhere you run the terminal, it can be in your server, Linux machine, set it up there. So it doesn't need to be hosted in your local directly anymore. So you can just do your safe Sandbox virtual machine and just, even prepare your whatever script to encrypt, decrypt, whatever. So you can go advanced there. Because a lot of our audience also have just workplace provided MacBooks. Not everyone is allowed to set up every tool we are using right now. But CLI is available everywhere now.
Yep. Cool.
So we don't have any more questions. How'd you like how I had a question, but I typed it up?
I saw that.
And
that
the reason I did that is so when we have the bookmarks, then people can find it. Because I know there has to be someone else out there wanting to know about the security. So basically what you're saying is, because it's in whatever folder you're in, don't start at your very top folder.
I mean, you can also do that if you know what you're prompting and what you're asking, or if you're not allowing everything, it just randomly asks, because, still 2025 AI hallucinates.
Yeah.
So just check what your AI tool is using.
Excellent.
But it is nice that it is using Gemini Pro 2.5, which is it is going through some thinking levels. It also has Google grounding, because it can do Google searches and stuff and pull files out. And I think that already makes it like head and shoulders above some of the other tools that you need to install that sort of stuff or pay for that sort of add-on. So it's nice that we get that for free. Very nice.
Yeah. Awesome. And now we have way different ways to use that, models and styles. And actually, I would like to have a slow switch from here to directly our next guest, which is Sasha, which I will actually ping directly with this conversation. Because when we talk about this models and so on, I also remember maybe some of you know, maybe not, but Sasha just published an article called Fine-Tuning Gemma with LoRa for On-Device Interference, like Android, iOS, web with separate LoRa weights. So I will actually just post this one as a link, but let me just give me a second to post it on our YouTube. But I am sure a lot of people in our audience doesn't know what does LoRa means, why does it matter, why did we have that, why actually he put it on February and we are actually starting from here. So I just left a Medium link that you can find it here, and I will present shortly. And after you're ready, I will ask some questions about it.
So there is in this article, actually, I have one note about it. So I wrote it in February. And if you like scroll down a little bit, there will be a link to collab with
collab. Okay, let's go for collab.
Yeah, but so since February, some Python libraries that I used for LoRa and so on, a little bit updated, and there is no more consistency between library versions. So this collab won't work properly. So I need to divide it by two different collabs because of consistency between media pipe dependencies and dependency from PyTorch, some of them. But yeah, the approach is working, but exactly this collab doesn't work anymore.
My point actually mentioning about this is actually when we talk about LoRa and when we see this one in overall and Flutter world, a lot of people doesn't know what actually even this title means. But when we talk about LoRa, we actually go and mentioned low rank adaptation, which is actually a technique. Like LoRa is a technique that actually Sasha used here. And what is happening here is you are using a pre-trained model. Maybe it's Gemma2B, Gemini, or like the model. I think in your example, it's 2B, right? From Hugging Face. And what it helps is you further train a pre-trained model, and you're not modifying its millions of parameters. You just insert low rank adaptation that you have there. And then let's say it's a difference with your new data set. Like, can we define it like that? It's like, how would you explain the work done there? It actually helps you to use Gemma. Like you can use Gemma better for your own needs. Like let's say you're making it like a, can I say it like you're making your, for example, travel assistant, psychotherapist, like, you're actually passing your own promptings and stuff and tuning that model, right? How can we mention that?
I do have a question before you go into that. There may be some people that don't know what Gemma is. So I know you have it there on your screen. So let's mention Gemma, because that was one thing that we advertised about it. So let's do that, and then we can go into the LoRa, if that's okay.
Let me explain. Yeah. So
how would you like to go for?
Yeah, everybody knows Gemini. Yeah, because we already talked about Gemini CLI like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, and so there is a Gemma. It's another model by Google, and it's created using the same approach, the same technology, but the approach of distribution is a bit different. Yeah, it's a open model, and open model means kind of open source in AI world. So the weights of model are open, and everyone can download this model and do with this model whatever they want. Yeah, you can use it on your own device. You can fine tune it. You can I don't know, whatever you want. Yeah, you can create your own model based on this model and create your own, I don't know, applications that will use the model and create your own license. So it's kind of open source licensed model. Not probably such powerful as a Gemini, because to be able to be downloaded, the size should be not very big. But it's really powerful. So there are tons of benchmarks with Gemma compared with another models, and results are really good. And of course, Gemma is not only one open model that we have around. Yeah. So everybody probably heard about DeepSeek. DeepSeek is also open model, or Llama, or Mistral. So models that can be downloaded and you can use it and train. And we have not open model like Gemini, like ChatGPT, like Claude. You can't download it and do with this model. You can have access to it only using API. With open model, you can take it and do something. And model, one of the like most powerful, and so it's better to say the best combination of size and power. So it's a very small and very powerful. So, for example, some benchmark, it can be compared with DeepSeek with size 771 billions of parameters, and Gemma with 27 billions. And running such big DeepSeek, you need like 100. I don't exactly remember the real. Like about, I don't know, 30 GPUs or 50 GPUs. For Gemma, you need only one. So you can launch Gemma on your laptop, or the most important thing for us is on your mobile phone. So you can just download the model to your mobile phone, keep it there, and with this model on your device without any internet connection, without cloud bills, or just API bills, because you have to pay for Claude, for ChatGPT, and of course you don't have to pay something that you run locally because it's your own your device capabilities, your device computing resources. You just use them for launching. So, and one of the most important things, especially here in Europe, we'll discuss it, I think, in separate topic later, is the privacy, of course. If you have on your device, so it's you can use your sensitive data for training. Don't share. So organize security borders as you want, and you don't share your data with OpenAI, with Google, with some, if you don't want. You keep everything in your hands.
So actually, can we say, like, for example, here, Gemma, and especially the Flutter Gemma package that we will talk about and cover more, will help developers to use these models that we show here, and hope to further more, and as much as we have more models available, it will increase. But it also helps them to use offline, fast, respectful of user data and connectivity, that you're not degrading internet package or whatever of the user. Or when we are building apps, not everyone is having full connection. Like, for example, there is a team of cleaners and working in our customers, and they don't have connection at all sometimes. Of course, we are doing some offline first features, some recommendations and stuff. We are totally using other resources to handle it. But if you want to make an smart or AI related feature there you want to go for, of course, that will be Flutter Gemma to go for, to host maybe some basic models, maybe some advanced models, to get it even offline, getting it done. And as you said, in Europe, a lot of people are like, I don't want to upload it there, or some of the things are quite expensive, way much more expensive than expected, and large models. Can we say that Flutter Gemma is the way to go for it right now?
So I missed actually your last question, because I tried something to the laptop to demonstrate. So that I have new laptop, and I had no installed Flutter Gemma here. I'm trying to do it now in parallel with talks. That's why sometimes I'm losing the focus because I'm trying to.
Sure. Meantime, I will probably show the examples in PubDev while you're checking it, if you're fine with that.
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So we also have some Flutter Gemma examples in PubDev that you will see. For example, now we will see Sasha is directly interacting with Gemma in a Flutter app. Let's see, how can I restart this? Probably if I open it in post. Yes, I think this one is better in post. I will share this tab, which is his LinkedIn post that we have entire example of video that we can still see. So I'm just scrolling back. So Flutter Gemma is just like starts like a basic Flutter example that you have. It's going to start by initializing the model. Then we will have a text input and output going on at the model. I am again mentioning that this is happening in local. And here he is using Gemma 3 nano model, which is a fast capable. It's just new. And you definitely, again, you don't need an internet connection with that.
Yeah.
So
can I tell a little bit more about Flutter?
Sure.
Gemma 3 nano. The thing is that Gemma 3 was the first Gemma that has multimodal capabilities. That not just provide text and get an answer, because Gemma 1 and Gemma 2 were text-to-text models without multimodality capabilities. And Gemma 3 was the first model that has. So the thing is that multimodal capabilities were only for big, like the best model by size for using on mobile was Gemma 1 billion. But Gemma 1 billion was really small and had no such capabilities. Only Gemma 4 billions. But Gemma 4 billions was already very big for mobile, so you probably was able to download it, but it would like 8 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes, too much. And then, recently, like a couple of months ago, Google released Gemma 3 Nano. It's a model specifically prepared for running on device. It's optimized for device, quantized for on device, and with a size of 2 billion parameters, it has multimodal capabilities. And I recently added support of this model to Flutter Gemma, and examples that you are showing right now is exactly example of multimodal capabilities of Gemma 3 Nano. I attended. I was in Japan and attended Expo in Osaka. And example, I just did screenshot of my ticket to this and provided it to Flutter Gemma example. Yeah, you can show it now how it works.
So this one, like, for example, for Flutter developers, doesn't know what we are talking or which direction this is going through. So when we go for Flutter Gemma package, we are seeing other models and stuff. And what Sasha is mentioning more is like one of the models here within details. And if you open, for example, 3 nano 2B, then I'm also sharing this tab. So now it's the time we start to see brands, people, companies, and things like Hugging Face. Now, probably a lot of you see this emoji somewhere, see it in your like Twitter timeline and so on. Hugging Face is doing machine learning AI. So you will be able to access these Google models via Hugging Face, and there you will also see a lot of information. And this is also the place while you're switching from checking only Flutter PubDev resources to also going for a little bit Google DeepMind resources to learn more about this models, the AI part of the things. And here in the model, you also see like inputs and outputs. Whatever package you're going to use there, it will have the input and output restrictions of this here. For example, while we are talking about Gemma 3N, which is the 2B version of this one, there is also, I think, there should be Nano 4B. Like all of them have their own input outputs. But here you can see you can give a text, images, audio as an input, and then you can get a generated text as a like response to input or analysis of an image content. So you can actually see what is going on in entire model data and stuff in Hugging Face in details. But if I go back to LinkedIn post to show it, I'm sharing this tab instead, Would you like me to play the video so that they see what's happening? So here, it just initialized the model that Sasha picks here, and he is uploading an image. And actually, maybe you can even tell it through while this is happening. But he writes, tell me, what do you see at the image? Will you ask for image data? So this looks like a QR. This looks like an app event ticket. Exactly. It's Expo 2025 ticket. And this is actually something everyone see, like, yeah, I'm uploading something to Gemini, ChatGPT, and getting this one as a result. But this one is in your Flutter app and running offline. So it's in the model in your app.
And one more thing about
Sure.
Gemma free. This model is not only multimodal, it's multilingual. So
Yes.
if you have like on the one image messages in different languages, the model will be able to translate everything. So, and you can talk and mix like English and Japanese, like expat Japanese. Yes. For example, for Gemma 2, it was necessary to prepare specific Gemma 2 for Japan. That was on Japanese language to be able to talk in Japan, Japanese. But Gemma 3 is able to do it without any additional fine tuning, because multilinguality and it has like tons of already supported languages. So this is the list of the languages of the website. Gemma, so you can check if your language is. If no, you still need to prepare your own fine-tuned model. How to fine-tune it, you can find in my article. It's on the data set for this.
One thing I can add for audience is, for example, when you are hosting your own models, it can be also like as you host in your device, it can be also like you host in your MacBook. For example, I had Ollama set up with Mistral, and I am using like 4 GB model, and it is actually expecting mostly, like I write a bash file and it's just expecting me to have an English input. Even though I'm Turkish, it's just expect me from the English input, because I just like keep it so short. So you can actually specify the things you wanted. But what makes this one powerful is like, yeah, as Sasha mentioned, it just like supports multiple languages, multiple different type of files. But the model you need, based on your need, it can be also just like supporting text input and output as well.
Sasha, Callan's got a couple of related questions here. Let's go ahead and take those. Oops, that's not the right one. It got slid. Where is Gemma on the device? How does Flutter Gemma know where to look? But I think that's related to how does it get on Gemma? How does it get on device in the first place?
Yeah, so there is a manual and there is detailed description how to do it, because I added specific model loader. So you are able to do it with different ways. You can download it using just URL. For example, you can copy your URL from Hugging Face and use it. So you will need only provide your Hugging Face token to give access. But if you have your own, you can upload it whatever you want and then download to your device. Or for debug purposes, you can put model to asset and take it from asset, but only for debug, because if you keep model in asset, the size of your APK will be really huge. And I don't think that any store will approve your application with size like 3 GB. But just for debug, it's one of the way you can put it to asset, provide a path to the asset and use. Or the third way, you can do it manually. For example, for Android, you can use ADB shell and upload Android and then provide a path. For iOS, you can just drag and drop to your application, your documents directory on your device and provide the path. So actually, the simplest way and only one way for production, I think it's links to your model in the network. So download it first before using, I don't know, in the background or somehow like show to user closing screen or I don't know, some onboarding screen, and during this time, it's loaded to your device and then use.
Now I'm just like swiping a little bit more while we are going to next question. Maybe I see some more questions. Will you go for those, Randal? That's was a Gemma on device.
Well, that's two I just did. So I take those off here.
That's great. So how would you like to proceed, Sasha? Should I go through the pub demo?
Let's go. So features. So features, local execution. You have discussed platform support. So Flutter Gemma supports not only mobile, it supports web as well. So you can run your Flutter application in browser, and model will be also launched in your browser. There is only one issue. So Flutter Gemma for web doesn't support multimodality yet. But for all other cases.
Quick question. Quick question about platform supports. While you're doing this platform supports, like, is it using any platform channels, method channels, WebAssembly, or like how does actually work under the hood? Is everything handled under Flutter Gemma, or how does Flutter actually adjusts, like our framework adjusts using Flutter Gemma package in Flutter? Like, what do we actually import when we export this package?
So Flutter Gemma actually based on MediaPipe. Yeah, it used MediaPipe. So I'm also going to add support of Llama CPP to be able to use such format of this. But it's not ready yet, and not in primary focus now. Probably later for Llama CPP format models. But now it supports only TensorFlow Lite models. So models prepared for MediaPipe is the best way, like task files. Of course, you can create your own task file. For example, you can download. There are tons of examples how to fine-tune models. So you can just take base model from Hugging Face, train it, then combine it to task file, or combine the task file and LoRa byte separately. So many ways to use it. But actually, mostly it's MediaPipe.
So the audience needs to just like check more of the things, how it works in MediaPipe side, TensorFlow, or the parts that we didn't touch, maybe some of the Python codes, maybe some of the Hugging Face announcements and further DeepMind context. So yeah, Flutter folks can lead there. So thank you for answering that. Now I see the multimodal support that you mentioned with Geometry Nano, which is new. And LoRa support, as we mentioned, that some of the collab will be updated later on, but you can actually, even if the audience look at that, maybe it's not directly running right now, but I think you would understand a lot of how these systems are working. Because to be honest, it's also super hard to keep everything super up to date, because even a new model is just announced and like after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's pretty hard to adjust. But it's better if everyone just looks at these terms. What does it mean? How does it work? So that you understand even further. And actually, as we see, getting Flutter Gemma is like literally just adding another dependency in your pub spec, which is like, thank you for making it that easy, because we have a lot of things to set up normally. And here you have the setup models, if you would like to mention, so that like I see as a like, if I am a self-taught Flutter developer with no AI or Python knowledge before, and when I just see here, there is tons of new terms for me. Like, what is LoRa maze? What is this multimodals and stuff? I was just doing the normal Flutter work with the widgets, API calls, asyncs, streams, and that's it. And now even model is a black box for a lot of people. They don't know how this model works. So it's, thank you for this. You can take it over, explaining maybe a little bit of the setup part. So, and we can skip probably the platform specific setups, but maybe we will have some questions, especially about like how to get the model, how to pick a model for us.
So actually, I can add a little bit about fine-tuning and LoRa. So what usually people do if they have like specific data that they would like to use it in like in generation. Usually it names RAG, like raw argument generation, when you provide like database with semantic search and so on, and provide specific data. On device, it's a little bit more complicated to organize vector search. So it
right now we can't hear you. I guess you muted yourself. Yeah, we are waiting.
And now?
There we go. Now, yes, we can now hear you.
We have audio link.
Yeah. So it's possible. So you can do RAG on mobile devices, and I think about add this capability to Flutter Gemma too, but in more far from here roadmap. But the simplest way to have everything on device, just take this data, transfer data set, and the data set, and fine tune your model. So add this data to models, not to look for this additional context database. Just include everything in your model using fine tuning. There is a scheme. So you take base model, prepare your own data set, fine tune your model, upload your fine tuned model to device. Or using LoRa, you can, if you scroll down a little bit.
And there we go.
Yeah. With LoRa, you don't have to upload a new model after fine tuning again and again. You have to upload model only once, and then during fine tuning, you prepare new file with LoRa bytes and upload only LoRa bytes every time, because size this additional bytes is much less than size of model. For example, model will be 2 gigabytes, and depending on the amount of data that you used for fine tuning, it's like 10 megabytes or something. It's much easier to download than again and again do it with a big file. So
LoRa waste will be something also interesting for developers. Probably you will not directly use it, but it's good to know how it is working under the hood, and so that once you need more advanced models in your own thing, so you know how to build it. That's the direction to look for that, to use a base model which more advanced, or let's say, specifically use a base model for your own needs to customize. They need to go and have a look there.
Yeah, there's actually many use cases, and it's related mostly for your own sensitive data. You have your own, or something that you have a lot of sensitive data, but you would like to use it in your model on device, so without sharing with anyone. So you just fine tune your model with this data and share this fine tuned model inside the circle of people who will need to have this access, and all of them will be able to use model with this additional data.
And there was multiple and different models that they can pick. And we see some of them here in the list, but probably they can also find some benchmark tables in official sources that you will see. Also, a lot of, let's say, objective companies are also doing surveys and benchmark tests of the models specifically, so you can also see them. But here you can see a model designed for open-ended text generation. Another one is like lightweight and in language generation and understanding. This one is better in reasoning and general person NLP tasks. Gemma and how you need to use this one like for chatbots and summarization. So you can actually pick a model which is like a best for your use. You can just iterate and do changes in between. So actually this thing needs entirely your own personal research to figure out which one works best for you. And you have the practice part here. Of course, they will check the collab and others later on, or themselves, or like, let's say, from the documentation. It's always like good to stick documentation. And yeah.
There's the point that I mentioned. Yeah, if you go to this link, we will open collab workshop.
Yeah. Would you like me to open the link?
Yeah, open please.
There we go.
If you don't know what collab is, it's a kind of, you put your notebook where you have your cloud environment and you're able to work with different libraries and the Python runtime. And because of AI and ML has a mostly support in Python world.
Yes.
If you would like to work with data and ML, probably you will need to work with Python. But you don't have to learn Python from scratch. So because we have AI, we have Gemini, we have like other models, so you can try to ask them prepare Python scripts for you without learning Python, not just for purposes. Because, for example, I'm not like very big expert in Python, but without this huge Python expertise, I'm able to do this fine tuning and so on. Because it's actually the same. So you have libraries, versions, dependency hell. Sometimes probably you met conflicts even with Flutter directly when you can't use like last version of one library and last version, because they both depends on different versions of libraries that can be used together. So with Python, there is a same thing. That's why current implementation doesn't work, because some libraries are updated and work together anymore. So I will need to update it a little bit. But if it would work, you will be able to go step by step, launch my script, and you have the LoRa bytes. So I will update it very soon, because it should work actually. But you see in the left side you have like run button. If you run,
I'm just checking here.
A little bit right.
This is snippets. There we go. We have the running here. I think it's my language here. But okay, I'm now checking the entire. There we go. This run.
Yeah. I can open and share my screen. Probably.
Sure.
There's nothing on this laptop, but everything works in browser.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just like stop sharing. Maybe your browser might ask for a permission. You can drop for a minute to come back. It's totally fine if that happens.
Okay. I found. So if you try to type in my browser LoRa fine-tuning, as I first that you will find it in my app.
I am sending the link from you.
Okay.
So you can actually get it from your Telegram. Meantime, I would just mention, if you want to do your fine-tuning, getting for weights and stuff, when you're integrating with MediaPipe, like you would need a lot of different libraries that we never touch and we didn't know in Flutter at all. A lot of them, like, of course, transformers, MediaPipe, bits and bytes, like PEFT, TRL, like reinforcement learning libraries to fine-tuning some data sets, and Google Cloud Storage libraries to like manage all of these. So you actually have tons of things to have a look at that. Hope this streams in general helps you to go through some keywords, hear what's going on there, and entirely have a little bit more AI bits. And I think in comments, they are mentioning speech recognition right now. That's how I'm kind of feeling by Craig Mary's comment.
So to be able to share it, I will need to restart my browser.
Sure. We are waiting a minute.
You'll
totally
be back.
Fine. Exactly. Yeah, he is not leaving us. So meantime, maybe I will share, since
I've got one thing from the Gemini CLI talk still that I need to add. Gemini CLI updates frequently, but when you invoke it, it actually says it's time to update it. So just pay attention to those. There's no self-updating mechanism. You're basically rerunning the npm command again to refresh your local installation. And I looked at the change; it was huge. So I have no idea what's better, but it's probably better than it was yesterday because the new release came out.
I mean, I am super happy for Gemini CLI because I like doing a lot of terminal work. I have Python work done before in my work. We wrote a lot of Linux scripts and stuff. And Gemini CLI is just helping me to figure out all of the things without looking Stack Overflow, what was it called in Linux, or Mac OS, and helps me. Meantime, I see Sasha is back, so I'm adding him to the stage. Now you're
Just
back.
One more thing on the Gemini CLI talk.
Sure.
We can let Sasha back in. So also I forgot to show it during the demo, but you can open up multiple terminals inside VS Code and live at once, and you can be running a separate instance of the Gemini CLI in each one of those windows. So you can essentially have one window that's all about your UI and another window that's all about your your back end code or whatever. And so their context will be specifically primed for those areas, and you can set them both running at the same time, or all four of them running at the same time. Great way to ruin your
what I had in mind before in Cursor, what I also did as I had multiple terminals and it was reading terminal outputs and going with each other. So maybe you can have multiple Gemini CLIs for multiple different topics and listening what is a terminal output and taking relevant action and automate even further. So it's just crazy. But I'm bringing back to Sasha to stage if you're ready, Sasha. Now I see it. There we go. And if you're fine, I will also bring your screen to stage as well.
Yeah. Can you share?
I'm adding it to screen. There we go. It matters in light mode. Thank you.
My eyes.
The goggles do nothing.
I love it.
Didn't get that. Can you try again?
I work sometimes in Android Studio, sometimes in VS Code. And in Android Studio, I always have light mode and VS Code dark mode. And in this case, I always can recognize. And Cursor also dark mode. So dark mode, VS Code and Cursor, Android Studio, light mode. I don't know, but I prefer this approach.
Was it last year, I.O., that everyone got so excited to dark mode announcement more than feature announcements? There we go.
Okay, so this is a cloud environment. For example, here you can choose the platform which you connect. For example, now I'm connected to A100 GPU environment. And RAM on the disk. And also you can change it. So there's CPU, A100, L4 GPU, T4 GPU, and for different purposes, different types. And you can just, if you even open this one, it will be possible to change it and do something with this code. You can type it all time and then launch it. But here is no code, they're just comments. But then, for example, here I do setup of environment variables. So you have pieces of code and text between. So it's a perfect place for preparing workshops or collabs for probably it was created for these purposes. So and then you have to install dependencies. It will be installed in this environment. So and then you can use it. So and here probably we will get an error because of versions.
Actually, it's a lot of things for Flutter devs right now, because even this command that you just run is running with pip command, which, if you don't know how the Python works, it's actually a package manager like pub dev. Pipe is, most
Yeah.
users of pipe 3. It's like Python package index. So it goes there and installs transformers and gets media pipe, bits and bytes. All of them are libraries just added there next to each other.
Yeah, and you can go step by step, read details about which dependency responsible for what, like transformer for provide tools and working with pertaining like Gemma, media pipe, you know, bits and bytes, PEFT for LoRa training, fine tuning tools, dataset tools, and so every step is described. So here we're getting dataset from Hugging Face, then launch Gemma without fine-tuning, get answer, then do fine-tuning. So here we do LoRa config. Here we do fine-tuning itself using SVT trainer. And then check that fine-tuning was done. And then in the end, you convert these fine-tuned details to media pipe format and save it to Google Drive, where you can take it on your device. So I need to update it because it's a little bit outdated, as I mentioned. If you're really interested, you can ping me, and as many people will ping me and ask to update it, as much faster I will do it.
Should they ping you from your LinkedIn or GitHub or X? Which channel do you prefer?
It doesn't matter. I read everything. Twitter, LinkedIn. What else? What else do we have?
I just left his LinkedIn here, and you will also see it there in the title, so you can find him as there in Twitter, and maybe on LinkedIn as well. I'm just like leaving that one too. Yeah, please, you can keep going. I'm just like putting your links for contributors or people interested in. You can find and connect him, go after it here. And if you have, maybe I have a couple questions about this collab, if you are ready.
You can share my GitHub as well. So because in GitHub you can create issues directly to Flutter Gemma and so on.
My question would be, I already see you use Gemma 2B here, and we mentioned about 3N, and why did you pick Gemma 2B instead of 3N here for LoRa fine-tuning demo?
Because when I created it, Gemma 3N wasn't exist yet. It was last year. So actually that time only Gemma 2 was born, because Gemma is really young.
Sure.
It was born in last March. It's a little bit more than 1 year, and since that time it's already like was Gemma 2, Gemma 3, and when I prepared this manual, Gemma 2 even didn't happen yet.
We also see, like, I leave one more link, which is about geometry, that you can have a look. And this is just announced on March 12th. So it's actually like super just before IO things and so on. And it's pretty up to date, actually. Your article was in February, and this is just like 3N is just like in March. Everything is super fast.
Yeah, and I saw the question about audio support.
So I'm just like pulling it up if you're ready. Craig Mary, she asked, like, when will Flutter Gemma support ASR? And ASR means automatic speech recognition. So it's something we have actually in mind.
Yes, it's in the roadmap in the first place, actually, because it's obvious that if you work with model locally and would like to provide a personal assistant, it will be really nice to have ASR support. Actually, it's not really complicated to implement yourself, to use like Google ML Kit or something to speech to text and provide text to model. But Gemma Free Nano has own audio recognition support. So it's not supported by MediaPipe yet, but will be supported soon. Probably, as we discussed with Ezra, we need to launch the first version with just additional support of ISR, not with Gemma. But then we will provide the way to choose how to to work with the speech recognition using Gemma Free Nano or using another way just to transform it. So actually in mind, I have a Flutter Gemma as a kind of starting point for people who would like to work with machine learning and AI on device. It started as a plugin to work with Gemma, but as now it already not only on Gemma, but in future I'm going to make it only even for inference, but also shows the way how to work with a rack on device and transform it to kind of source of true, where will be added articles like this, links to pop-ups related to this thing. I will have 24 hours more in the day.
I would actually show one use case from the Medium article that we shared, which is a hands-on example that right now I'm just adding it to the stage and I am removing this one if we are fine. So we will actually see one of the examples. You will see it in the, I hope I'm pronouncing it well, Csongor's. Can I agree with Csongor's?
Yes.
In Csongor's article that he is actually wrapping up from Flutter Ninja, of course, as you see, Sasha with an amazing famous dash hat talking about this. There we go. Now it's clarified that it's you. So he actually explains all of them in deep and goes for how to access the models. It's like also a README that you can follow, creating a token and going there, and in his model, like there you pick a model, educate, and have the example. Exactly. Would you like to say?
So here you can see how in examples that you can find in the repository how to organize downloading model. So it's not a part, not part of plugin itself, but in plugin you can find an example folder. An example folder is an example of application that you can see on the screen, and there is you can find in the code how to download a model from Hugging Face. You just provide token, and model will be downloaded.
Totally, you will see them in the README. We can also go later on do a hands-on. But now we are here to give you a preview what you can do with this package and what is possible. So here he is adding an image like we see in Sasha's example, and he is, let me just zoom out a little bit. We see it's a 3 and bit 4B model. So now we are giving the access. I'm swiping a little bit more to give you examples because we have almost 10 minutes left. So he is actually asking, what does this sign mean? And then gets the Japanese one-way street bicycles prohibited output, which is really lovely. Imagine this happens when we are traveling. Not everyone has super large internet packages, or you don't have the service provided, whatever.
So actually you can use this example up as your offline AI assistant, because in this example app you can talk with Gemma, you can provide Gemma images and analyze your photos. For example, if you're somewhere in another country and you don't know the language and you have no internet to launch your translator app, so you can open this example app.
It is even good. We don't even need to think some edge cases. In Germany, I just go to Rewe or Edeka somewhere. It's too deep somewhere, and I just don't have simple connections, and I just can't use it. That's it just happens even in here. Or you are in your gym that you just don't have the connection. But traveling, amazing. Working, blue collar workers, amazing. Military usage, it's amazing. Travel usage, it's amazing. So you can just think too wide and multiple market. And here he also highlights that without internet connection, the core advantage of using Gemma. And in his examples, no Wi-Fi symbol. And what he did is in building an offline menu translator. And exactly what he mentioned, like eSIM data had just expired, and the restaurant I want to have a dinner had no Wi-Fi. Menus written only in Japanese, no option to use an online translator tool, but it's just, you need just an assistant, like you mentioned. Look at that. Yeah. You just need to go and talk to the waiter, and maybe you will just like be lucky. But there we go. He uses Flutter Gemma, adds there as a dependency, and then downloads the model. As Sasha mentioned, is in model URL is from Hugging Face. It's the model file name. You will see this file name directly in the main documentation. So you're not coming up with a regular, not random name. So if you have it installed, the check will be processed. But if not, then your app will get a download model, and you will see the loading indicator and see his part, like download model if needed, and if the model is not installed, and so on, the other checks. And once it creates a new chat instance, so it goes with a Gemma plugin, with a Niv instant, and Gemma is creating a model, and you give a maximum tokens, you have like enable or disable images, and then you create the chat from loaded model. And when you are going for a response, then you have send message here. Of course, please, like, if text is not empty, it will just go for translate this menu into English. He just made a, let's say, backup default here, because the use case is just ready. You can also have your backup default to like, send a user saying, hi, good morning, how can I help you today? So this could be also like is something, however you would like to go for. Please, if anytime you want to step in and add extra, feel free to tune in. So he is, yeah.
So I wanted to add something. So not to forget in the end. So the next thing that we have in roadmap is audio speech recognition support, and the next one that I would like to add is a function call. So after implementation of this, we'll be able to create offline AI agents that will be able to run your own SDK. So it will be like fantastic opportunity, I think, when I will do it. So just imagine your offline agent that are able to do something that, for example, call my mom or something, but like kind of your own Siri or on steroids, and you can like create your own.
Actually, Siri on steroids sounds really good. As a person who is using Apple Intelligence and so on, I'm still having times to, like, I'm struggling to get my own things done to Apple Assistant or like Siri or like regular apps, because they don't have the most capabilities. I would be super happy to do it in my Flutter so that I can just give a full access. A lot of apps are also not able to do that because of user privacy law restrictions, but you would just like have it more. And we have actually a relevant question for that that Randal just marked. I will directly ask it here. It's asking, how good will the offline will be to compare to online?
The good question, but what exactly do we compare offline and online? So if we compare the same Gemma that hosted offline on your device and hosted in cloud, there is actually no difference in quality of answers, but the speed, you will need to connect your Gemma in cloud, so pay for the GPUs to launch it, get questions. So but if it's you want to compare Gemma with something else, like with Gemini, of course, Gemini has more knowledge because it's trained on much bigger amount of data. But also it depends, you can use Gemini 2.5 Pro or Gemini 1.5 flashlight. So the quality of answers will be different. The same with Gemma. There is a tons of different nuances. there is a different amount of training data, like Gemma 27 billions and Gemma 1 billion will get you absolutely different answer by quality. Of course, Gemma 27 billions will get you, will bring more better answer. Like I give you example. You have a JSON with data, and you would like to parse it. If you give it to Gemma 27 billions, the most probably everything will be fine and will parse it and describe everything. With 1 billion, it depends. So probably we will need to get a little bit more context to explain what do you have in the JSON and how to parse it. And result will be the same. So there is a difference. As a smaller model is, as more explanation you have to provide in context to get proper answer. Because more trained model has more knowledge and understanding how to transform your request to get proper answer. There is a thing you have to, you can use a smaller model, but with more detailed explanation and get the same result. And of course, Gemma's like benefits and capabilities is a speed. She's very fast. It's very fast. She is or it is. But it's a model. Very fast, very responsive. But yeah. And as well, quantization. The model can be quantized to have a different size. It's also a term from machine learning, how to use the size of the model and how heavy it's quantized. So the quality also can be a little bit different, but size also smaller and bigger. There are tons of nuances. So it depends. What do you would like to have? So Gemma has her own direction, device of some tasks.
Thank you for the answers. We already have a lot of thank yous and like a lot of things about like incredibly powerful to do multimodal on device and further. And we also had some people dropping off for a meeting, but glad that the questions that are answered already before they leave. In this example, we also see like directly the menu is getting translated, and now here you have the English translation again with no connection, everything with the prices and with all the details. It's just like fantastic. Because before doing this was almost like impossible, or it needed too much over engineering or like work to have these ready. But now it's just like one import Flutter Gemma at this model. Here is the key away from us.
So I've got a Gemma 3 question. Does Gemma support the idea of function callbacks?
For function calling, you mean like tools using? Flutter Gemma doesn't support it yet. It's a roadmap. So as I mentioned, after speech recognition, I'm going to add it. So I guess.
I think it's not in Gemma, but you're answering for Flutter Gemma package, right?
If you ask about Gemma free or Flutter Gemma package, Gemma free supports.
Just Gemma,
Oh, okay, so the LLM is programmed properly. You're just not having the right protocols on the code you're wrapping around the basic chat.
Not exactly, actually. Yeah, but there is a workaround how to make it work.
Yeah, sure. Got it. Cool. I look forward to playing with this. They're fun.
Okay, so it's a lot of things also for community to contribute. As much as these models are supporting all of new things, we also need to find, for example, which ones are most used between Flutter developers so that we have a time to prioritize more of them in the roadmap, or we get more contributors, or we get more discussions and needs about it. And thank you, Kellen. We have like amazing work. Thank you, coming. And this is going for Csongor's article here. Everything is like super new. To be honest, we also didn't have the article. If we go like, I don't know, 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks ago, we only had a README and the GitHub repo. So everything is just like getting built right now. So feel free to try, experience, drop your comments, reach out to Sasha, Flutter Community AI Circle to contribute and try. Bring your own tools so that we also know what to do and what to check next. To be honest, we are already in 2 hours and we didn't even have a time to make a demo. Like there is actually the beauty of this one. It's like so much things. And right now in FCAIC, which is not directly only AI talk, which is also goes for every Flutter people going through the AI and they can also learn it.
Mhm.
There we go. I got a new link. I think we have one more link to check before we close, I feel like. Right?
One more example, one more article
Okay.
about Gemma and vibe coding that mentioned. So yeah, we can do fast. Like it's a kind of story about using vibe coding in Flutter Gemma to get even without.
I will just scroll right now. I just left the link from Medium here that you can see it at YouTube. And this is building an AI app from scratch, user cursor in Gemma. So I'm just like, exactly, it's used. Oh, my colleague, Csongor's. Then they got like geometry and you. Immediately caught my eye. Ours too. So we are just swiping. And there we go. They made a Jhin Lite. So they pick a personal offline AI assistant. Would you like me to guide through in swiping and so on? How would you like to mention this, Sasha?
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that there is one more article, so one example how to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, there is also like assistant that and as I remember from reading, so you can just set up like vibe of your assistant, how to interact with you and so on.
So they go for Copilot, they are making prompting in the flow, and cursor becomes a full stack ideation. Okay, so it includes being a product manager, prompting, planning, and everything. Oh, this is a large thing that they can check how it is set up, iteration, so includes also cursor. Yeah, it's a good one. I actually didn't see this research, or let's say resource. Saying resource would be better. So maybe we can also make a small post in Flutter its widget forum about the articles and stuff that we talked today and maybe the key terms. So you can go and have a look there. So you can actually pick the style and so on. It's amazing to just be able to make all of them for yourself. Like this could be your personal app, writing coach, language tutor. For example, I need a writing coach for my social media posts that I want to schedule and the things in Esra language, but they're using the similar emojis or something. Okay, amazing. So I just shared this one as well. There we go. Thank you for this too. And thank you, Brahim, for creating this one. And I'm trying. So yeah, a lot. To be honest, we are already over time.
Yes.
Okay.
And to Sasha, what can I say? Like, first, thank you for being an inspiring person and inspiring GDE, being in like multiple different areas and coming here to talk to us. We know it was like super packed week of you, and I will be like, folks, it's like one of the busiest weeks of we have, like because of Flutter, like the entire Google AI Connect, further things coming, other conferences, everything in Berlin. We were just like in super rush. And thank you so much for sparing some time for us to go and, yeah, to be honest, even though without we are having dry run or anything, just going into like sharing Flutter Gemma package. And we are also sending some loves and good wishes for Jhin and Csongor as well. I hope everything is going good from their side. We were also planning, as you see in announcements, to have them in the stream with us, but let's see, hope we're gonna get them later. And maybe asking in public, like, Sasha, would you like to join one of our next streams with maybe some use cases, maybe with some like work streams that we are maybe sharing some terminal and maybe some phone outputs and so on, like with a setup. Of course, probably a couple weeks later, if you are up, we would like to see you here at Flutter Gemma, like hands-on checks.
Yeah.
Right now,
like I don't know, workshop, how to say, live coding or something.
Yeah, live coding would be like perfect.
Audio
Because-
support already.
Because
Nice.
mostly for streams, also how it goes with Jhin's was like, we also talk about MCP, we also talk about here now. Flutter devs knows which terms to look for, what package to go for, and then they can start do their own thing, and we can go advanced later on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. We should probably say goodbye and get off the stream.
Great day and a great rest of the day. Depends on where you are.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Have a wonderful next 24 hours, whatever time zone.
Oh yeah, it's nice. I need to remember.
Totally.
And then talking to people from different parts of the
Yeah.
world.
I'm a time zone
Yeah.
geek. What can I say?
it's always there. Then I will just like, as you see from Sasha's handle, go after him and X, LinkedIn, GitHub, anywhere that you see it, and bring your own questions. Do not forget to fill the surveys and with this QR codes to mention the areas, the resources, and the topics that you are interested in, so that, yeah, on live, we just learn and see from you and decide to, okay, let's pull it to the live stream and go for it. Thank you so much. We have like great comments. I'm just like going quickly. And yeah, I think I would just go for saying, is it this one? Nope, sorry. Thanks for tuning in today. Good join and subscribe. And I'm leaving our countdown to end the stream. There you go.